Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Crystal and welcome to my channel. Thank you guys all for clicking on another true crime video and happy Wednesday to you all. So if you guys are new here, I started a new little series to my channel and it's called Crime with Crystal, where we sit down each Wednesday and we talk about and dive into a true crime story. I don't think I've mentioned this on my channel yet, but if you guys haven't noticed already, all of my true crime videos are about bringing awareness to Black and brown young women and men. I don't believe I've done any true crime videos about men yet. I do have a couple working in the work in which I will be putting out very, very soon. But for now, I think for the most part, all of my videos have been about minority women. And so, yeah, I just wanted to explain that. Like I said, I don't think I've explained it here on my channel yet. I think it's in the description on my Apple Podcast or my Spotify. So if you guys are listening to this on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, welcome back to another true crime video. So with that being said, let's jump right into today's case. It's a crazy one. So Alexis Crawford was a 21-year-old who was born and raised in Virginia. She grew up with 4 sisters, 4 brothers, and a close cousin that was raised alongside her and her siblings. Her family was extremely close and very tight-knit. Alexis was known to be a very kind, funny, and affectionate person. Alexis was also known for being an artist. After graduating high school, Alexis attended Clark Atlanta University. Here at Clark Atlanta, Alexis double majored, and one of her majors was actually criminal justice, which was one of my majors as well. So I can definitely relate to Alexis in that aspect. While being away from home and at college, Alexis really got a feel for and had that real full college experience. She lived in dorms, she had roommates, she got close to a lot of her classmates on campus, she attended parties, she went out and, just things of that nature. She was really, weaved into that college life. So this led Alexis to befriend one of her roommates when she was a senior at Clark Atlanta. Her roommate's name was Jordyn Jones. Jordyn and Alexis grew to be extremely close, so much so that when Alexis would go home to visit her family over, the holidays, Jordyn would join her. Alexis and Jordyn also shared an off-campus apartment together, but unfortunately, this tight, close-knit best friend type relationship took a turn for the worst very quickly. So on Saturday, October 26, 2019, Alexis, Jordyn, and Jordyn's boyfriend, whose name was Byron Brantley, they were all hanging out at Alexis and Jordyn's apartment. They were drinking, having a good time, listening to music, I'm sure just doing what typical 21-year-old college students do. But throughout the night, it was evident that they were all getting a bit more intoxicated. And Barron, which was Jordyn's boyfriend, he began to make sexual advances towards Alexis. And Alexis was not going for this at all. This made her feel extremely uncomfortable, so much so that she removed herself from the living room and proceeded to walk to the bedroom because she wanted no parts of Barron and any sexual advances that he was making towards her. Once Alexis got up, Barron actually followed her into her bedroom. Later on that night, when Jordyn went looking for Alexis, she found her passed out on the floor. Jordyn also saw that there was a pair of scissors on the bathroom floor and Alexis's underwear were actually cut up, which was extremely strange. If I walked into a restroom and saw that my roommate was on the floor, there were scissors and her underwear were cut up, alarms would go off in my head immediately. That is not okay. That is not normal. Something had to have gone wrong. So this situation obviously led Alexis to feel extremely uncomfortable in her own home at this point. And the following day, Alexis did go to the police station and file a police report. So Alexis then confided in a couple of her other friends and told them that she didn't want to go home and she didn't want to sleep in her own room. They of course asked her why, and Alexis proceeded to explain the situation of what had happened the prior night between her and Jordyn's boyfriend. So on the following day, October 27th, Alexis filed a police report and told them the details of what had happened the prior night. She explained that she had blacked out and her roommate's boyfriend was making sexual advances towards her. She did remember him following her, and the next thing she remembered was waking up in the restroom. And so the police actually told her that it was a good idea for her to go to the hospital and get an examination done to see if, she did have sexual intercourse the prior night. And the results of this unfortunately did conclude that Barron sexually assaulted Alexis. So about 4 days later, on October 30th, Alexis's sister Alexandria texted her and asked her what she was doing for the weekend. The upcoming weekend was Halloween, and being that Alexis was, in college, she attended Clark Atlanta. I'm sure her sister was like, I'm sure she's going to go out and have fun and, go to a Halloween party and dress up. And Alexis actually said, I'm not doing anything. My plans are just to stay in for the weekend. And this conversation was actually the last time that anyone in Alexis's family was in contact with her. So her sister Alexandria was the last person to speak to Alexis. So a few days go by and Alexis's family seemingly started to get worried as they didn't hear from Alexis. No texts, no calls, no social media posts, no nothing, which was completely out of the ordinary for Alexis, especially being the fact that earlier I mentioned her and her family were very tight-knit. It was 9 siblings, a cousin that was raised as a siblings. They had a huge family and they were very close. No matter how far another one was, no matter how many states away they were, they always kept in contact with each other. They always, knew what the other one was doing, and they were just a very close and tight-knit family. So when they heard nothing from Alexis for about a couple of days, they knew immediately that something was not right. Alexis's friends also began to start to wonder where she was, as they hadn't heard from Alexis either. They noticed that she didn't show up to her classes for a whole day straight, which they knew was not like her. Like I said, Alexis was very smart. She was very into school. She double majored, which a lot of people typically don't do. You see people major and maybe minor, but to double major, you really have to like school. So when her friends noticed that Alexis was not in class, then her friends also immediately knew something is wrong. Where's Alexis? We need to locate her. Therefore, on the following day, November 1st, Alexis was reported missing. Atlanta Police Department immediately began investigating into Alexis's disappearance. Parents and students who attended Clark Atlanta University were worried as well. Also, surrounding towns in Atlanta were worried also. Once Alexis was reported missing, pictures of Alexis began to flood all over social media. They were asking people to keep an eye out for Alexis. They were trying to get her name and her picture out there as much as possible. So Jordyn, Alexis's roommate, also seemed to be very worried and distraught that Alexis was nowhere to be found. So Jordyn also shared on her social media post about Alexis's disappearance and asked for others to help join in the search of locating her. As authorities began their search for Alexis, they began with the closest person to her, which at the time would have been the person she lived with, her roommate, aka Jordyn. So they began to question Jordyn, asking her when the last time she had seen Alexis was. Jordyn stated that on the night of October 30th, Alexis had asked Jordyn to take her to the liquor store. Even though they weren't as close as they were the week prior, which was when the sexual assault incident happened with Barron, they still were on talking terms and were cordial to each other because at the end of the day, they did live together. I'm also not sure if I mentioned this, but besides her few friends on campus that Alexis told about the sexual assault incident, she didn't tell anyone else. She didn't tell anyone in her family, and she didn't tell anyone at her school. All she told were the police when she made the police report and a couple of friends on campus. And I'm sure had her family known this, they would have made sure Alexis was out of that apartment immediately. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have let her stay another night in that apartment. So back to the night of October 30th, again, Jordyn is now telling her side of the story and when she last saw Alexis. Alexis asked her to take her to the liquor store, and Jordyn does that. They get in the car, they go to the liquor store. And there's actually proof that Alexis was indeed at this liquor store the night of October 30th from the store's surveillance camera footage. Jordyn then stated that the following morning, which was Halloween on October 31st, when she woke up to get ready for class, she noticed that Alexis was not in her room and she basically wasn't home. So according to her, the last time she saw Alexis was when they got back from the liquor store the night before. So about a week later, on November 8th, Alexis was located, but unfortunately, she was not alive.
We continue to follow breaking news. The Clark Atlanta student who's been missing for 9 days was just found dead. Police securing arrest warrants right now for her roommate and her roommate's body.
And this is a story that we have been following all the last week. And with this news that nobody wanted to hear, now the investigation shifts.
11 Alive's Deborah Tuff has been following this story since Alexis's family first pleaded for help. And Deb, they never stopped hoping. So devastating news for them tonight.
That's right, Cheryl. Even her father said he's from Athens, that he would not go back home until his daughter was found. But here's what Atlanta police are saying. They say Alexis's body was found in a park today off Columbia Drive in Decatur. Now her roommate and the roommate's boyfriend are facing charges. In this police report filed just days before Alexis disappeared, she accused her roommate's boyfriend of sexually assaulting her. So here's what we know so far. On October 27th, Alexis told police she, her roommate, Jordyn Jones, and Jones's boyfriend, Baron Brantley, were at their apartment on McDaniel Drive drinking the night before. She says she blacked out and believed Brantley assaulted her. Now, according to police, she went to Grady to have a rape kit performed and afterwards told friends she did not feel comfortable sleeping in her own bed. Fast forward to October 31st, the family files a missing person report. In that report, Jones told police she and Crawford were not even on speaking terms because of what happened earlier in the week. But Crawford had asked Jones for a ride to the liquor store the night before. Surveillance video shows Crawford in that store that night. Jones told police they went back home, and when she woke up to go to class, Crawford wasn't there. Concerned family and friends then reported her missing. Now, police told us earlier this week that Jones had been cooperating with them.
The case has come to one of the saddest conclusions possible and has been absolutely heartbreaking.
Like I said, police told us earlier this week that Jones had been cooperating with them. Now today, the news that they found Crawford's body after one of the suspects leads them to it. Jones and Brantley now accused in Crawford's death.
All right, devastating again for that family. Thank you.
Alexis was found at the Exchange Park in Decatur, Georgia, in a plastic bin. This now was not just a missing persons case. This has now turned into a homicide investigation. Once authorities began to question Alexis's friends and peers on campus and eventually located that police report that Alexis had filed a couple weeks prior regarding the sexual assault incident with Baron, they then brought Baron in for questioning. I'm not sure how long they questioned Baron, but Baron immediately told on himself. Baron stated that he choked and killed Alexis. Baron also stated that he did not do this alone. He stated that Jordyn, his girlfriend, helped him in doing so. Baron proceeded to state that on the night of October 30th, when the girls returned to the apartment from the liquor store that night, a fight had broken out between the two girls. They were arguing back and forth, and Baron decided to jump into the middle of them. And once he did this, it led to a physical altercation. He stated that he then proceeded to turn on Alexis and started strangling her. Baron stated while he was strangling Alexis, Jordyn grabbed a black plastic bag and placed it over Alexis's head. So from this confession, authorities obviously arrest Baron, and the next person they're looking for is Jordyn, because if what Baron is saying is true, then Jordyn is just as much guilty in this as Baron. So after Baron and Jordyn were arrested for Alexis's murder, Alexis's friends then took to social media to voice how they felt, with most of them stating that they weren't surprised, as Jordyn had always shown weird behavior and had consistently shown that she is not Alexis's real and true friend. Alexis's friends also voiced that Jordyn never truly had Alexis's best interest at heart. And coming from her other friends, this honestly just speaks volumes, because if her other friends realized like she's not a true friend of hers, I'm kind of wondering, you know, why Alexis probably decided to stay friends with her. Like, I know they were roommates, and I know that was probably a big, portion of it, being that they were seniors. Alexis probably just wanted to get her senior year over with. She probably didn't think that, the envy or the jealousy was to the extent that it was, which I'll go ahead and address, my opinion and how I feel about the situation later on. So like I was stating, a lot of Alexis's friends felt like Jordyn could have even been jealous of her because Alexis had a lot going for herself. She was outgoing. She, was double majoring. She was a very smart girl. She was doing great in school. She had a lot of friends, and she was truly like a smart, amazing, great girl. And also adding in the sexual assault incident between Barron and Alexis, Jordyn probably thought, my boyfriend now thinks she's attractive, which I'm sure probably could have played a role in it as well. So when arrested, Jordyn and Barron were both charged with murder, felony murder, and aggravated assault.
Earlier today, the judge decided to take requests made by the defendant's attorneys under consideration. One of the people accused of killing Crawford testified today during the hearing. Barron Brantley, the former boyfriend of Crawford's roommate, took the stand and was questioned by both sides. His attorney argued that Brantley was under the influence of a strong strain of marijuana on the day he was arrested and admitted to the killing. He also says that Brantley didn't remember having his Miranda rights read, but prosecutors said there's a recording showing they were. Brantley's attorneys also say they want the, quote, totality of circumstances surrounding Brantley to be taken into consideration and ask that the original testimony given by Brantley not be cross-examined, but that the testimony today be used instead. Jordyn Jones, Crawford's roommate and the other person accused in her killing, was not present at the hearing, but her defense team was. They say Jones was never read her Miranda warning when she was interviewed by a detective. They also asked that her original testimony not be used. Prosecutors argued that Miranda warnings are only given when a suspect is in custody and cited the law, saying Jones was not in custody at the time of her interview. The judge says that she is taking the requests made by the defense attorneys under consideration. She'll review the interview transcripts, recordings, and the case laws. The request to separate the two defendants' cases was not ruled on today.
Jordyn and Barron both pleaded not guilty and were both denied bond. In August of 2020, Jordyn continued to request bond and requested to be released from custody. Jordyn's attorney's reasons for this was that she had never been in any prior trouble besides receiving a speeding ticket. Jordyn's attorneys also stated that Barron, was lying and Jordyn didn't grab the bag. Jordyn had nothing to do with Alexis's murder, which I'm sure we're all assuming is bluff. Alexis was laid to rest on November 16th, 2019. When Alexis's family found out that Jordyn was involved in her murder, they stated that they were actually speechless because, like I said, this was the same girl that Alexis called her best friend, the same girl that Alexis brought home to her family every holiday because she had no family to go home to herself. This was also Alexis's roommate, nonetheless. In January of 2023, it was learned that Barron Bentley's confession could not be used in court.
New developments in the murder case of Clark Atlanta University student Alexis Crawford more than 3 years ago. During a hearing Friday, we learned her accused killer's confession cannot be used in court.
That's correct, Judge. The court issued an order on January 27th, 2023, suppressing defendant Brantley's confession.
Barron Brantley appeared in court for a bond hearing that was postponed. His attorneys are seeking his release, while prosecutors appeal the ruling that they cannot use his confession in Alexis Crawford's 2019 murder. In that confession, prosecutors say he admitted that he choked Crawford and knew she was dead because she was, quote, struggling to breathe and she had sounds of agony. A judge ruled he was likely under the influence of drugs while giving the confession and coaxed into it by detectives.
Yeah, I think it's extremely sad that his confession was thrown out because they think that he was under the influence. Unfortunately, guys, this is the last known update from what I could find. I really tried to do some digging, but it looks like the court proceedings for this case has been on hold as of now. I really do hope that Alexis and Jordyn continue to get denied bond. I also hope that Alexis and her family receive justice. If more information does come out, which I'm sure it will, I will do a part 2 follow-up of this video. But like I said, as of now, the last update was last January. So that would be January of 2023. Basically, the last update is that his confession is going to get thrown out. So I'm not sure how they're going to proceed with the case. Until then, I really do hope that you all keep Alexis and her family, her friends, her loved ones in your prayers, because Alexis did not deserve this. Alexis was a beautiful, bright, smart, intelligent young woman, and it just sucks that she was put into this situation. I hate that she, even after when she was sexually assaulted, she still went in the house, and she probably did that because she was like, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and, do what I have to do, stick it out. And unfortunately, a lot of us do feel this way sometimes. We don't like to, ruffle feathers and get a whole bunch of people involved, but sometimes it's necessary. I don't like to live by, what ifs, but what if she did tell her family? I'm pretty sure her family wouldn't have allowed her to go back into that home with Jordyn, especially with Jordyn's boyfriend. Needless to say, I wanted to end this video by saying, do not ignore the signs. The signs are there. And I know a lot of people are like, they don't like to say, oh, so-and-so is jealous of me, or this person feels a way towards me. No, if you have those thoughts are for a reason. I know for myself, I always used to say, like, there's no way this person can think this, or there's no way this person can be jealous like me, like what, little old me. But you truly, honestly never know. So please do not ignore the signs. As much as you can, try to make sure you have the right people in your corner and in your circle and surrounded by you. And if you feel something is off or suspicious, please always, always, always follow your gut and follow your instinct. I pray that Alexis Crawford rest in peace. And like I said, I will continue to keep Alexis, her close friends, and her family in my prayers. I hope you all do as well. So this is the story of Alexis Crawford. I really do hope that it is not over. I hope that both of her killers are charged with her murder and Alexis does get her justice one day. With that being said, I'd like to thank you all for clicking on another Crime with Crystal True Crime Wednesday video. I don't even know what I'm calling it at this point. I'm calling it Crime with Crystal True Crime Wednesday, but thank you guys all for clicking on this video. If you guys have some suggestions of anybody that you guys would like me to cover, please leave a comment down below on any of my true crime videos. I will go do my research and cover those cases. If you guys are not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on your post notifications so that you guys are notified the moment I post a video. Until next Wednesday's true crime video, I hope you all stay safe out there.